Okay, picture this. It's like 6 a.m., the alarm goes off, that horrible, default radar sound, and you jolt awake. Your heart is pounding,
Hmm.
and you are absolutely convinced for about 3 seconds that you were just flying over a purple ocean. Or maybe you were back in high school, naked, trying to take a math test you didn't study for.
The classics.
The classics. It feels incredibly real, visceral, but then you blink. The ceiling fan comes into focus. You shake your head, grab your phone, check your email, and poof, it's gone.
We just dismiss it.
Totally. It's just random brain noise,
Yeah.
right? Just neurons firing off while the system reboots.
Well, that's the default mode for most of us. We treat dreams as, well, mental exhaust. Just the byproduct of the brain cleaning house at night.
A meaningless static.
Exactly.
It's the screensaver of the mind. Pretty, maybe a little weird, but ultimately it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But, and this is where things get really interesting, what if we've been looking at this completely wrong?
What if that screensaver is actually a video call that we keep hanging up on?
Yes, that's it. Today we're doing a deep dive into the ancient language of dreams. We're looking at a source that argues we've, lost the ability to speak a language that humanity used to be fluent in.
It's a huge shift in perspective. Our mission today is to peel back the layers of our modern skepticism. We want to look at how our ancestors viewed dreams.
Yeah.
And when I say ancestors, I'm talking about cultures that existed long before Freud, long before neuroscience. To them, dreams weren't puzzles to be solved. They certainly weren't random static.
I have to admit, I'm the skeptic here. I wake up, I have a weird dream I usually attributed to the spicy tacos I had for dinner. So how did they view them?
They viewed them as portals, as conversations. To the ancients, a dream wasn't something happening inside your head. It was a place you went.
That's a cool distinction. Not a hallucination, but a location.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the core contrast our source material establishes right away. Modern life, our life, treats dreams as noise. Ancient cultures treated them with reverence. They believed that when you slept, the boundary between the spiritual world and the physical world, it didn't just blur. It thinned. It opened up.
So in that mindset, a dream isn't just, digestive turbulence. It's a message.
A message, yes. From the gods, from ancestors, from the soul, or even just from the unseen threads that connect everything in the universe.
Okay, let's unpack this because the source mentioned something that honestly sounds like a nightmare scenario for me socially. In the modern world, dreams are intensely private, right?
Oh, for sure.
I might tell my partner I had a crazy dream, but I'm certainly not going to stand up in our Monday morning strategy meeting and share it. But the source says that in the ancient world, dreams were basically public property.
In many ways, yes. That's a key point. They weren't secrets you kept to yourself. They were often recorded and shared communally, with elders, with the whole tribe.
I can't even imagine. Okay, team, before we look at the quarterly projections, I dreamt about a three-headed badger wearing a tie. Thoughts? I feel like I'd be fired immediately.
It sounds absurd to us, but for them, it was incredibly practical. They believed dreams served vital functions for the survival of the community.
Functions like what?
They could offer guidance, predict outcomes of a harvest or a battle, diagnose illnesses, or even connect the living with the dead. If a leader had a dream, it wasn't just their dream. It might be relevant to the survival of everyone.
So it's less me and my subconscious and more.
More us and our future. The source highlights the Iroquois people, for example, who had a festival specifically centered around acting out and fulfilling the desires found in dreams.
Wow, it was a social glue.
It was, yeah.
That's fascinating. So you have this communal aspect, but there's a word the source uses to describe the state of sleep itself that I found really poetic, but I'm not 100% sure I get it. Liminality.
Liminality. Yeah, it's a heavy hitter in this text. It comes from the Latin word for threshold. A liminal space is a space between things.
Okay.
It's not quite here and it's not quite there. Think of a doorway or the time just before dawn.
The gray area.
The gray area. The source explains that sleep wasn't just rest or shut down. It was a state of liminality where the soul could travel beyond the constraints of the waking body.
Wait, travel beyond the body. That sounds a little woo-woo for me. Are we talking astral projection?
Well, think of it more philosophically. In your waking life, you are bound by physics, by time, by your job, by your location.
Right, all the rules.
All the rules. In the dream state, this liminal space, none of those rules apply. You can speak to your grandfather who passed away 10 years ago. You can fly. You can be in two places at once. To the ancients, this proved that the soul had agency outside of the body.
That feels so much more expansive than just recharging the battery, which is how I usually think of sleep. It's more like going on an expedition.
And that changes the way you interpret what happens there, which brings us to a really crucial difference in how they analyze dreams compared to how we might.
Right. Because today, if I dream about a cat, I'm guilty of this. I pull out my phone and Google universal meaning of cat in dream.
We all do it. We look for fixed definitions. Cat means independence, or teeth falling out means you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
But the source argues that ancient interpreters didn't ask, what does this symbol mean universally? They asked relational questions. They did ask, who is dreaming? What is happening in their life right now? What emotions are present? The meaning wasn't in a dictionary. It was context dependent.
That makes so much more sense. But before we get into the interpretation stuff, because
Yeah.
I really want to test that out, can we talk about dream incubation?
Yes.
Because this blew my mind, the idea that you can program your dreams.
Yes. This is a practice that was prevalent in ancient Greece and Egypt. It's called incubation.
It sounds like something from a sci-fi movie. Like you're growing a dream in a lab,
Yeah.
but it's an ancient ritual.
Very ancient. It's the intentional practice of seeking a dream for a specific purpose, usually for healing or guidance. It just completely challenges the idea that we're passive recipients.
Okay, so walk us through this. If I'm an ancient Greek in 300 BC and I have a problem, maybe a chronic stomach ache, or I don't know if I should take a new job, what do I do? I assume I don't just flop onto my couch.
No, it was a pilgrimage. You'd travel to a dedicated sanctuary, often a temple of Asclepius, the god of healing, and the source describes these places as incredibly sensory.
Okay.
You'd arrive, and first there's preparation. You might fast for days. You'd undergo ritual cleansing baths.
So you're stripping away the daily grind.
Exactly. You're signaling to your body and your mind that this sleep is different. Then you would enter the abaton, the sleeping sanctuary, which was often filled with non-venomous snakes that would slither across the floor while you slept.
Whoa, pause. Snakes. While I'm sleeping, that sounds like the opposite of relaxing.
The snake was the symbol of regeneration shedding skin. It was sacred. So you're lying on a stone bench, surrounded by these symbols, the smell of incense, and before you drift off, you ask a specific question.
You literally just asked the question out loud to the dark.
You hold that question in your mind as you cross that liminal threshold. How do I heal my stomach? Or what is the path forward? And here is the most important part. The dream itself was considered the answer.
That's the kicker. You didn't wake up and hope a priest would give you a prescription. The experience of the dream was the medicine.
Right. It implies that the dream state is interactive. You aren't just watching a movie, you are engaging in a dialogue. The source describes people waking up knowing exactly what herbal remedy to use or having a psychological breakthrough just from the dream's narrative.
It really does reframe sleep. Instead of shutting down for the night, it's like you're logging on to a different source of information.
A source that has better data than you do when you're awake.
A better data source, yeah.
And because you've logged on with a specific query, the data you get back is relevant.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. Sometimes the data we get back is just bizarre. To go back to my earlier example, or your snake example, if I incubate a dream about my career and I dream about a snake, my modern brain immediately goes to Google, and the internet tells me a snake means betrayal or enemies. And now I'm paranoid at work.
And this is where the source says, stop, put the phone down. This is what we call the death of the dream dictionary.
R.I.P. Dream Dictionary. But why? Isn't a snake a snake?
Not at all. The ancient approach completely rejects that idea. That a symbol means the same thing for everyone. The source uses a perfect example with a snake to show why context is king.
Yeah, lay that out for us.
So imagine a farmer dreams of a snake. To a farmer, a snake might represent a threat. Danger to the livestock, a pest. It's grounded, earthy, maybe dangerous.
Right. It's a problem to be solved.
Now imagine a high priestess dreams of that same snake. In her tradition, the snake sheds its skin. It represents transformation, rebirth, spiritual evolution.
Totally different vibe.
Completely. So if the farmer and the priestess both look up snake in a generic dream dictionary, one of them, or both, is going to be seriously misled.
Okay, I get the theory. But let's try to make this practical. Let's do a live experiment. I have a recurring dream, and I know a lot of listeners have this one, where my teeth crumble and fall out. It's horrifying.
Mm-hmm. Common one.
I wake up checking my jaw. Google tells me it means fear of aging or financial loss. How would this ancient method tackle that differently?
Great example. So the ancient method in the text prioritizes feeling over visual explanation. It suggests you ask 3 questions. The first is, what emotions stayed with me after the dream? So in your teeth dream, what's the dominant feeling?
Oh, well, panic
Yeah.
and helplessness, like I can't stop it from happening.
Okay, panic and helplessness, not vanity or aging, just the raw feeling. The second question is, where have I felt this feeling before in my waking life recently?
Where have I felt helplessness? Huh. Honestly,
Ah.
we're going through a restructure at work right now,
Mm.
and I feel like I have zero control over my team. I feel, yeah,
There it is. The dream isn't about your dental hygiene. It's using a somatic image, your body falling apart, to mirror the emotional reality of your team falling apart.
wow. That actually clicks way more than fear of aging.
And the third question is to look for patterns. If a symbol returns, the source says it is asking to be witnessed. If you keep dreaming about your teeth, it's because you haven't addressed the helplessness yet.
Asking to be witnessed. That gives the dream so much agency. It's like it's knocking on the door saying, hey, you missed this the first time. I'm going to keep showing you until you get it.
Yes. It suggests the dream isn't trying to hide the meaning, it's trying to show you something you're ignoring.
Which brings us to the stuff we really try to ignore. The nightmares. The monsters.
Yeah. This is a shift in tone, but a necessary one.
Because look, I'm all for guidance. But if I'm being chased by an axe murderer in my sleep, I don't feel like I'm being guided. I feel like I'm being tormented. Surely the ancients thought those were bad.
Surprisingly, no. They fundamentally reframed them. The ancient perspective is that a disturbing dream is not a punishment, and it's certainly not a sign of a broken mind.
So what is the axe murderer?
He's an invitation to integration. The source argues that fear in dreams points to unprocessed experience.
Unprocessed experience,
Right.
like psychological indigestion.
Exactly. Think about it. If you go through something traumatic or incredibly stressful in your waking life, what do? You suppress it. You put on a brave face to get through the workday.
Right. Keep calm and carry on. Stuff it down.
But the psyche wants to be whole. It needs to digest that event. So the ancient view is that the dream brings that fear up, personified as a monster or a storm, not to scare you, but to allow you to feel that emotion in a safe environment.
Safe. Doesn't feel safe.
It's physically safe, you're in your bed, but emotionally, it's intense because it has to be. The dream is forcing you to face the thing you ran away from during the day.
So the nightmare is actually
Hmm.
protective.
In a way, yes. It's the psyche saying, hey, we need to look at this so we can heal. It's a much more compassionate view than our modern fear of nightmares. We tend to run from them or try to suppress them, the ancients would say, turn towards them, ask the monster what it wants.
That is surprisingly comforting. It makes the scary stuff feel less like an attack and more like rough therapy.
Rough therapy is a perfect way to put it.
Now, we've talked about ordinary processing dreams, and we've talked about nightmares. But the source makes a big deal about a third category. Big dreams.
Yes, this is a distinction found in many indigenous and ancient cultures. Carl Jung talked about this too. There are little dreams, the day-to-day sorting of information, and then there are big dreams.
I feel like I know what this means intuitively. These are the ones you remember like 5 years later.
Precisely. But the source gives us a bit of a checklist to identify them, because in our modern world, we tend to flatten everything. Every dream is just weird. But the ancients would say, no, pay attention to this one.
So how do we tell the difference?
First, there's a strong emotional residue. The feeling lasts all day, maybe all week. It haunts you, but not necessarily in a bad way. It just changes the atmosphere of your day.
It hangs over you, like a mood.
Second, there is a sense of clarity. Ordinary dreams can be muddy, confusing, jumping from one thing to another. Big dreams often have a narrative coherence or a visual sharpness.
Like high definition, 4K resolution.
Exactly. And third, there is a feeling of presence or a distinct message. You wake up feeling like something was communicated to you. Often these dreams feature archetypal figures-wise, old men, great animals, natural disasters, rather than just your coworker Bob eating a sandwich.
So if I dream about Bob eating a sandwich, that's just my brain filing away the day.
Probably.
But if I dream about a lion speaking to me in a library,
That's a big dream. And the ancients believed those dreams weren't just about you. They were about the collective. They were spiritual events.
okay, so let's land this plane. If I want to start tapping into this, if I want to stop ignoring the video call, what do I do? Because let's be honest, I don't have a temple of Asclepius down the street.
Right.
I have a messy bedroom, streetlights coming through the window, and a smartphone addiction.
You're not alone, and that's perfectly fine. The source offers a practical toolkit for applying this ancient wisdom today. You don't need a marble temple, you just need intention.
Give us the actionable steps.
Yeah.
How do we build this practice without becoming a hermit?
Step 1, keep a journal, but, and this is important, don't worry about writing a novel. I think that stops a lot of people.
It stops me. I wake up, I'm groggy, I don't want to write 3 pages.
So don't. Write fragments. If all you remember is blue door, write down blue door. It just signals to your subconscious that you were listening.
Okay, low pressure. I can do blue door.
Step 2, write down the emotions before the symbols. This flips the script on how we usually do it.
So usually I'd write, I saw a dog, then I felt happy. You're saying reverse it.
Yes. Right, I felt a deep sense of joy. Then write, I saw a dog. Because the emotion is the anchor. The symbol is just the dressing. The emotion is the truth of the dream.
I like that. It keeps you honest about what the dream actually felt like. What else?
Step 3, track connections to life events. This helps you see that relational aspect we talked about. Is there a pattern between your stress at work and these dreams? Or maybe even moon phases, if you want to get ancient about it.
Sure.
And step 4 is one of my favorites. Speak the dream aloud.
To the room, to my cat.
To the room, to a friend, into a voice note on your phone. The ancients believed that speaking the dream honored it. It moves it from the internal, shadowy world to the external, physical world. It gives it weight.
That's interesting. It stops it from just evaporating like mist.
Exactly. And the final step is a modern version of incubation. Ask a gentle question before you go to sleep.
Just like the temple.
Just like the temple, but without the snakes. It doesn't have to be some grand prayer. It can just be, what do I need to know about this situation? Or help me understand why I'm so anxious. Then let it go and sleep.
It seems like the core of all of this, whether it's the journal or the question, is really just paying attention.
That is the essence. We are so busy rushing. We rush to sleep. We rush to wake up. We treat sleep as a gap in our lives.
We rush to check the phone to see what everyone else is doing.
Right. This source is reminding us that we don't need to believe in ancient gods to use these tools. It's about listening to ourselves without rushing. It's about recognizing that there is a part of you that is wiser than your waking self.
And realizing that maybe the best advice we're going to get all day isn't coming from a podcast, ironically, or a book, but from our own heads while we're asleep.
There is a beautiful sentiment in the source's closing thoughts. It says, your dreams are not trying to confuse you. They are speaking a language humans understood long before words.
And that language is still alive within us. We just got a little rusty.
We did. We just have to relearn how to listen.
I love that. So here is our challenge to you, the listener. Tonight, before you crash out, try it. Don't just close your eyes and hope for the best. Treat tonight's sleep as an opportunity.
Treat it as a portal.
Exactly. And here is the thought to carry into that portal. If you treated tonight's dream as a direct answer to a question you've been afraid to ask,
Yeah.
what would you ask before you close your eyes? Think about that. Sweet dreams, everyone.